Yo, what's going on, everybody? Yugioh, I'm here with a lot of issue news, and I know, right? I'm actually doing a video that's not deck profile or duel related. Holy shit, that is crazy! Once I do more of this new stuff, turn the cards, and get back into that thing. So we got a lot of new stuff coming in crossover souls, and it's pretty cool. I've read a lot of the effects already, but some of them I've yet to read because I saw this stuff like around 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m., 3:30. It's getting ready to go to work and all that stuff. So wasn't able to read a lot of the stuff that was coming out. So anyway, let's get started. So first up, we have Performer Pound Lizard Draw. It's a scale of 6. It's level 3 Earth Reptile with 1200 attack and 600 defense. The penalty effect is you can use the penalty effect of Lizard Draw once per turn. If you control a Performer Power card in your other pendulum zone that is not Lizard Draw, you can destroy this card if you do draw one card. Not bad, but the monster effect is what really gets it kicking. You can only use the monster effect of Performer Power Lizard Draw once per turn. If another face of monster you control is destroyed from your opponent's attack or by your opponent's card effect, you can draw one card for each Performer Power monster you control. This is massive draw power for Performer Pals, which is really cool. So I do like the effect a lot. I personally have never played Performer Pals, so I'm not really all that knowledgeable of what the deck needs and all that stuff. So if you have played the deck and you feel like you are really good at the deck, can you please tell me if this is a really good card for the deck or not? It's a deck I've sort of been interested in, but have never got around to actually playing it, so I don't really know if this is an amazing good card for the deck or not. Next up, we have Lucius, the Shadow Vessel. They are releasing more vessels for the Monarchs, and dear God, are they busted. I will definitely review once I have read, and I've read the majority of the cards on this page. So it's a level 1 Dark Fiend with 800 attack and 1000 defense. All the vessels have that attack and defense. You can only use the effect of Lucius once per turn. You can banish one level 5 or higher monster from your graveyard and special this card from your hand. You cannot special a monster from your extra deck for the rest of this turn. Playing Monarch, you don't really care about that. Just, the extra deck is there just in case you need it, in my opinion. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can look at all set cards your opponent controls. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card effect activation. Really good card. Because the way you summon him is kind of not the best, because the others are better in terms of the summoning conditions. But the fact that you can look at your opponent's back row and kind of see what, like, you trip it for Kai. Okay, I want to banish that one. Oh, that's the deep person. That's a banish the deep person. You can kind of banish the stuff, which is really, really cool. So, you know exactly what you want to hit, and you can chain imitation and stuff like that, and hit your opponent's good stuff that they don't want to lose. So that is really, really cool. Now, for probably one of the most busted cards ever, people bitched about Pot of Avarice being overpowered. My opinion, Pot of Avarice is balanced compared to this card. Jar of Avarice, normal trap card. You can only activate one Jar of Avarice per turn, which doesn't really matter. Target 5 cards in your graveyard except Jar of Avarice. Shuffle those targets into the deck, then draw 1 card. Note that it says shuffle target 5 cards, not just monsters. So for the people who wanted a Pot of Avarice-like card for spells and traps, you now have it. You can recycle your spells and traps. This thing, in my opinion, is more powerful than the Pot of Avarice. Sure, Avarice is a spell card, so you can easily play it without having to set it first. But the thing is, this is a trap card that's chainable to things like MST. And it allows you to not only recycle your power monsters into your deck, but as well as your power spells. Reuse that Dark Hole, reuse that Red Geki. You can reuse the MSTs, those Tinky Searches and all that stuff. So this is a really, really powerful card. And this is definitely going to be played in a lot of decks. Even though it's a little bit slower than Avarice in terms of what it does. Excuse me. It's like a lot of decks love the fact that, and also, hey, that Roll Rekindling, I can put that continue recycle in my deck, which is hilarious. But a lot of decks, I'm going to love the ability to recycle their decks. much more effectively, since Avarice is banned. Your best way is either Dichotomy or Emerald, so this gives you another option, a better option. And this definitely kicked Dichotomy's ass, like, no, fuck Dichotomy. Playing Jar of Avarice. I may only get one card out of the deal, but still, I'm recycling spells and traps. And I don't have to skip my battle phase. Fuck that shit. Next up, we have Garm, the Storm Vassal. Again, like I said, they all have 800 attack, 1000 defense, so don't really matter for that, and it's level 3. You can return one tribute summon monster you control to the hand, special summon this card from your hand, and you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. All the Vassals have that cannot special summon the extra deck during that turn, so I'm not going to repeat that one. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can add one monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense from your deck to your hand, except Garm, the Storm Vassal. That is awesome! There's the Stratos, which is amazing. The fact that you can just, it's sort of the, like, it's basically like Harpy Dancer in a sense for the deck. The ability to pretty much like, oh, like, hey look, I already have a constant, okay, bounce back to hand, summon Storm, tribute Storm for Caius, so I still have an instant Caius play, or Ryza play, or whatever Monarch play you want to make, and I can search out for another Vassal, which is so amazingly good. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to have basically two variants of Monarchs now. You're going to have the typical Froggy Monarch deck that you see people play, and then you're going to have the Vassal Monarchs, which I'm actually going to try out playing because it sounds like fucking fun. And the reason I feel like this that the Vassal Monarchs are definitely going to be very, very valuable is due to the fact that they have Mythra, the Thunder Vassal. Now, during your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, special summon one Vassal token to your opponent's side of the field. The token has it's level 1, and it has same attack and defense as Mythra there. Check that out. Now, if this card is tributed for the tribute summon during your main phase's turn, you can tribute summon one monster in addition to your normal summoner set. Yeah, you can freaking this combined with Garm is just amazing. Special summon your Mythra. Tribute for like Caius or Ryza, because the two big monarchs that people play. Also have Mobius, but you know Caius and Ryza are the two biggest ones. And then basically, you use Garm's effect to turn the Caius to your hand, or the monarch to your hand, special summon the Garm. Then you can now normal summon that monster again and get a secondary effect. That is too good. This is why I feel like the Vassal Monarchs, in my opinion, odds are it's going to be the superior version of Monarchs. And I feel like we're definitely going to see a lot more Monarch decks going around. Next up we have Landrel, the Rock Vassal. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, change that target to face-down defense position. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck for the rest of this turn, of course. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can target one monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense in your graveyard except for himself and add to your hand. Again, more good combinations. Pretty much, so far all the Vassals are really, really amazingly powerful in terms of their summoning conditions outside of Lucius, which is still, it's sort of like a meh summoning condition, but it's still a very good tributing effect. All these monsters are just, dear God, so good. And it's definitely going to be a very popular deck. Monarchs are going to be, in my opinion, they're going to even be more popular, and I feel like Monarchs are definitely going to make a big comeback into the game. I'm not saying they're dead, but you're going to see a lot more of them running around than what you have been. And things like the Monarch Storm 4th and stuff, and a lot of those annoying King's spell cards are going to be even more powerful in the deck, which is really cool. And then next we have Despot number 4. Yeah, they are making more Despots, but this is actually a really cool one. During damage calculation, when this card battles a monster, you can send one Despot monster from your deck to the graveyard except for himself. During this damage calculations, this card gains 500 attack and defense for each level that is sent that sent monster had. After you activate this effect, your opponent takes no battle damage for the rest of this turn. If this card destroys a monster by battle, you can special summon 2 Despot monsters with different levels from your hand or the graveyard in defense position. Holy fuck, that is good! Not only does he, in a sense, it has an honest-like effect for himself, you can send the Despots to the graveyard, get the tuner to kind of sink or something like no tomorrow. This is an amazing card for Despots, and this is definitely going to push them over the edge in my opinion. It's going to be a really good card for them. And I'm definitely going to have fun with this deck. I'm going to try out this deck, and it's just going to be pretty cool. Next up, we have Yosenju Kodama, which is actually an anime card from for Yosenju. It's actually a pretty cool monster. It has 0 attack and defense. That doesn't really matter. You can only use the first effect of Kodama once per turn. You can choose this card, the target 1 Yosen training ground you control, put 3 Yosen counters on the card. Easy searching right there. Now, you can banish this card from the graveyard, and during this turn's main phase, you can normal summon 1 Yosenju monster in addition to your normal summon or set. Now, the secondary, both these effects are really good, because Yosen training grounds is basically your gateway in a sense. Your very watered down gateway to samurais. That lets you free searches for your cards, your counter trap, your pendulum monster, and all that stuff. But that's not the big important thing here. The major thing is the fact that you can banish it and it allows you an extra normal summon. So basically, the big weaknesses of the deck, which are things like skill drain, breakthrough skill Fiendish chain, stuff like that, like a negate effects to prevent you from getting those additional normal summons off the Yosenju effects. Pretty much become null and void because you stop me right there, you waste your card, and now I can banish this card and continue doing what I'm doing, and just go completely nuts on my opponent. So very, very powerful card for the deck, and it's definitely going to be good, and I'm definitely going to be trying it out in Yosenju and determining ratios. Next up, we have Super Heavy Samurai Glove! Yay! This card sits in the graveyard while you have no spell and trap cards in your graveyard. You can look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. Not bad at all. During attack declaration, when an opponent's monster attacks directly, you can banish this card from the graveyard, excavate the top card of your deck, and if it is a Super Heavy Samurai monster, add it to your hand and make that attacking monster attack 0. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. Really, really good. Really good for Super Heavy Samurais, because it's like you're like basically the only non-Super Heavy Samurai monsters that you're gonna be playing in Super Heavy Samurais are like what Machinas. That's about it. So yeah, this is actually a really, really good card for the deck in my opinion. Really powerful. Next up, we have Super Heavy Samurai Soul Buster Gauntlet. 0 attack, 400 defense. You can target 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster you control. Equip this card from your hand or side of the field to that target. It gains 400 defense. From the beginning of the damage step, before damage calc, if a defense position Super Heavy Samurai monster you control is battling with opponent's monster while you have no spell or trap cards in your graveyard, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. The defense of that battling monster you control becomes double its original defense until the end of the turn. They have a fucking honest! We're back in that time of every deck gets an honest for all. We're back in they're back into that mindset now, which every deck needs an honest. Which I don't fully agree with. I feel like not every deck needs an honest, but still, they're back in that mindset again. But it's cool. I feel the deck needed it. It still lacks things, and this is something that really helps them out, in my opinion. Now we have Super Heavy Samurai Sandals. It's got 800 attack, 800 defense. It looks pretty cool. I like it. It's sandals, it's a sandal. Samurai sandals. What are you doing, cat? Anyway, if you have no spell trap cards in your graveyard, you can special this card from your hand. You cannot special a monster for this turn except for super heavy samurai monsters. This card can be treated as 2 chippies for the chippy summon of a machine type monster. Pretty much, it's just the way to get Big Wing K out. Pretty much, just kind of the whole gimmick of him right there. Now we have Fiendish Hound Octorus. Looks pretty cool. I like it. It's level 3 Dark Fiend, 800 attack and defense. You can only use the effect of Octorus once per turn if, and in caps, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 8 Fiend type monster from your deck to the hand. I can't think of any decks that would be very, actually, I think Infernos are Fiends. I can't really remember if they're Fiends or not, off the top of my head. I was like, kind of just got back from work, so I'm kind of tired here, so I may not remember obvious things, like if they're Infernos or Fiends or not. I think they are. But I can't really think of any decks to be actually useful in, but it'd be kind of cool to try out, I guess. Next up, we have the True Monarch Dominion. So Monarchs have a field spell into all the Monarchs there. That's actually really cool. And if you have no cards in your extra deck and control a tribute summon monster while your opponent does not control a tribute summon monster, your opponent cannot special summon from their extra deck. So Konami's in the trend of saying, fuck your extra deck! That's kind of crazy. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not really a fan of saying no extra deck. If you don't want to use an extra deck, it's fine, but I'm not a fan of cards that say I can't use mine. Because that's the point of having the extra deck, to be able to use it. And that's why I'm spending money on my extra deck so I can use it. I'm not a fan of that, Konami. Please stop that. That's not really fun, at least for me personally. So stop it, please. It's anyway. GB7 monster control 800 attack during damage calculation when they attack opponent's monster. That's nice. It gives the monarchs kind of the biggest weakness. It gets rid of it helps reprimand their biggest weakness, which is getting over annoying threats, bigger monsters that may be summoned after, of course, they're on the field already. So that is good. And once per turn, you can have one monster with 2,800 attack and 1,000 defense in your hand and lose 2 lows to the end of the turn. So now the Mega Monarchs can be playable. Well, more playable. So that is awesome for the Mega Monarchs. So I'm glad they finally did something to make the Mega Monarchs more viable in a Monarch deck, and are trying to push them more better. So that is actually really cool. I like that a lot. So I can't wait to see some of the crazy combinations that are going to come up with. So next up we have Snatched Bones, a continuous trap card. Activate this card by targeting one monster in your opponent's graveyard. During a turn that your opponent special summoned a monster, special summon it to your side of the field in defense position. When this card leaves the field, banish that monster. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So it's called on it, but against your opponent, which is really nice. That's actually pretty cool. I'm sort of glad they're giving more love to kind of call the Haunted S type cards, and it's actually a pretty powerful card in my opinion, so that's going to be interesting to see. Next up we have Grieving Fiend, which Fabled, nice, love the picture. Target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, shuffle into the deck, then you can send one Fiend type monster from your deck to the graveyard. I think that's fucking hilarious in my opinion. I love the way that trap looks. Anyway, let's see, we have Inferno Lilith. It's got 2,900 attack, and they are fiends. They are fiends. Thank you, Lilith for showing me this and reminding me that they're fiends. But 2,900 attack and 2,900 defense. Cannot be normal summon or set like all the Infernoids. Must be summoned from your hand or graveyard, banishing 3 Infernoid monsters from your hand or graveyard. While the total levels and ranks of all effect monsters you control are 8 or lower, and cannot be special in other ways. When this card is special summoned, you can destroy all spawn trap cards on the field except for void cards. So now they have a monster destruction and a spell destruction. Dear God. And once per turn, during either player's turn, when another monster's effect is activated, you can tribute one monster, negate the activation, and if you just banish that card. Damn! That is kind of scary actually, and it already looks badass. Next up we have Yugioh. Ayamapiko. I think it's how to pronounce it, and that's actually another anime card, which I actually forgot about. It's got question mark attack and defense. It's level 6 wind beast type monster, which is kind of interesting. You can only use the first effect of this Yugioh once per turn. During attack declaration, when an opponent's monster declares you, when an opponent's monster attacks you directly, you can send one Yugioh monster from your hand to the graveyard, except for himself, and special card from your hand. This feeds into the level 1 monster, so it makes that be able to get a secondary effect much more effectively. At the beginning of the damage step, if this card battles with an opponent's monster, you can have this card's attack and defense become the same as the original attack and defense of the monster it is battling until the end of the turn, which is pretty cool. Just free crashes for days. And when this card is destroyed but balances the graveyard, you can add one Yugioh card from your deck to your hand. More search power for the deck, which is really nice. So in a sense, you can crash your opponent's monster, then you lose a monster, you lose your monster too, but then you can gain a card from your deck, which is really nice. You can get back your Yugioh monster, you can go for the Yugioh secret techniques and all that stuff. So that is actually pretty cool. Sound portage, you can't search for anything like that. It says Yosin, because it's not technically Yugioh, which is kind of sad there. We have Stitching Reborn. You can target one Fluffle or fight for a monster in your graveyard and special summon it by its effect negated. So, Fluffles have a monster reborn! Dear God, this deck is getting more powerful. It really is. We have Fluffle Crane. When a fated Fluffle monster you control is destroyed by an opponent's monster attack or opponent's card effect into the graveyard, target that destroyed monster and add it to your hand. And if you do, draw one card. That's amazing! Like, you get your monster back and you get a card for it, so you're not really losing anything. That's actually pretty cool. We have Frozen Void, continuous spell card. You can only use the first effect once per turn. Discard one card, add one Void spell or trigger from your deck to your hand except for Frozen Void or Null and Void. I like how they put Null and Void there. Add the damage calc of a battle in which your opponent monster battles an opponent's monster. You can send this face-up card and your spell and trap cards into the graveyard, banish both those monsters. I think it's kind of cool. Next up we have Pendulum Arise. Normal spell card. You can only activate one Pendulum Arise per turn. Send one monster you control to the graveyard, especially one Pendulum monster from your main deck whose level is the same as the sent monster's original level, but is destroyed during the end phase. More support for Pendulums. Okay. Next up, a Resonating Oscillation. If your opponent controls a card in both the Pendulum zones, target those two cards while your opponent controls those two cards in the Pendulum zones. During this turn, when you Pendulum summon, you can use the Pendulum scales of those two cards, but if you do, you can only Pendulum summon from the extra deck. Huh. Pretty cool card just for Pendulum decks in general, and I think that'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty fucking hilarious in the Cleaver mirror match, in my opinion. You know, if one Cleaver player feels like he's got an edge because he keeps fucking over his opponent's Cleaver's Pendulums, like, okay, fuck this shit, activate this, and now your monsters to Pendulum summon. Haha! I think that's a pretty hilarious thing in the mirror match, and I think I would love to see that mirror match because that's gonna be funny as hell. And we have Kumanyo no Dosu. I think it's how to pronounce it. I probably butchered that, but oh well. Especially on this card, okay, so it's another monster trap, pretty much. This card is still treated as a trap card. This card, especially when the effect cannot be targeted, but its card effects while you control another trap card that is a monster. If a card from your spell and trap card zone is special to your monster zone as a monster, you can target one card in the field and destroy it. That's pretty cool. Then we have Bissell Stingray. Pretty much another thing, it just can't be destroyed by battle. Next up we have Dizzying Wind of the Ocean Realm, which I believe is the final card for the Yosenju from the anime. I could be wrong, but it's a continuous trap. Activate only if you control a level 6 or higher Yosenju monster. While you control a Yosenju card in your Pendulum zone, if a sap monster or a face-up monster that is not a Yosenju monster will be returned to the hand, shuffle it into the deck instead. Now, the problem with this card is, this is good for if you're using the Pendulum version. But if you're not using the Pendulum version, then you might be out of luck because of the fact that, well, I use more the control version, I don't use the Pendulum version, but it's a pretty cool thing. This would work a lot more better if Yoshin Tornado actually had the enemy effect, to where you just didn't return one card to the hand, you can return multiples depending on how many Yosenju monsters that were returned to your hand that turn. So, I feel like this trap card is kind of meh, due to the fact that its main combo is very watered down. But who knows, they might make something even better that might make this card a lot better. Then we have Perform Power Bowhopper. You can only use each effect of Bowhopper once per turn. First effect is you can tribute one Perform Power monster and inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each level the tributed monster had. You can also tribute one Perform Power monster, then target one Perform Power monster in your graveyard other than the tributed monster and add it to your hand. That is actually pretty cool. You can add back your Pendulum monster. So the reuse of Pendulum monsters is actually pretty cool. Next up, we have Perform Power Spring Goose. Level 5, 1100 attack, 2100 defense. You can only use the effect of Spring Goose once per turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target a total of 2 cards on your side of the field, Magician or Perform Power cards in your Pendulum zones, and or a Pendulum monster you control, return the target to the hand. Not bad. Not bad, I guess. Next up we have Inte, Hashed, Berlins that fires from Vassal. I had to say Inte. I wonder if volcanoes erupt if he roars. Pokemon trivia for the win. Anyway, you can discard one card, special this card from your hand during this turn. You cannot special one from the extra deck. If this card is tributed for the tribute summon, you can reveal your opponent's hand and banish one card there until the end of the turn. This is actually not a bad card for Froggy Monarchs in my opinion. It gets you your frogs in grave and gets your tree born in grave a lot more effectively. So I think it's a pretty cool attack for Frog Monarchs in my opinion. I don't really think I would play this in the Vassal Monarchs, but I feel in Frog Monarchs it could have definitely a good place. Next up we have Edge Imp Song, which is right here, of course. Right here. Right there. Yeah! You can only use the effective Edge Imp Song once per turn. When this card is normal summoned, you can send a 1 Fluffle monster from your hand to the graveyard and draw a question mark card. Then place one card from your hand on either the top or bottom of the deck. So we don't really know how many cards you get to draw, but oh well, Arbor looks pretty freaking badass. And we got some more pictures. Got Clearway, Secret Dragon. We got an unknown Exceeds card, which I believe we're gonna know what that is quite soon. And we got some other stuff right here, which I don't know what the hell that is. It's pretty cool. But one of the cards that we have here, is not what I want. Right here, which is Cyber Dragon, Infinity, and Stagglers. So we have meet the evolved form of Cyber Dragon Nova, which is Cyber Dragon Infinity. Now, I've not read this effect yet, so I'm interested to see what it has. It looks like Trish almost in a little bit. It's pretty cool. So it's a rank 6 Light Machine type monster with 2100 attack and 1600 defense. It requires 3 level 6 Light Machine type monsters, but you can also exceed some of this card by using Cyber Dragon Nova. You control Aztec Sea material. This card gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. Not bad, not bad. So it will gain 600, making it 2700. Once per turn, you can target one face-up attack position monster on the field. Attach it to this card as a face-up Xyz material. And it says on the field. So it can, so it's like, doesn't have to be a smash summoned. It just like, you know, fuck it, I'll snatch the shit up. Once per turn, you can eat a player's turn. When this card's effect activates, you can attach one material from this card and negate the activation, and if you destroy the card. Dear God, Cyber Dragons! Holy shit! Y'all got some good shit here! My God! Applause! Cyber Dragons got some good stuff! Oh my God! You know, I never thought I'd say this. I'm not really trying to hate on Cyber Dragons, but I never thought it'd be kind of scared of Cyber Dragons. Considering the fact that, you know, the deck was, you know, not that hard to beat, but now they have a free negation, a way to snatch your shit, which is better than 101. So yeah, I'm not scared of 101 anymore. I'm scared of this shit, because 101's only special. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. So anyway, going over some cards here. Some of these are still rumored effects, but there's a couple I do want to go over. Some of them were not shown the other one because their effects were confirmed. And those effects on the other pages were ones that some of them were still rumored, and they were confirmed because they were able to get close-up pictures, and pics are still incoming. So anyway, we have Performer Power Hammer Mammoth. It's got 2600 attack, 800 defense. If you control 2 or more Performer Power cards, you can normally summon this card without attributing. This card cannot attack if you do not control another Performer Power card. During attack declaration, when this card attacks, you can return all spell and track cards your opponent controls to the hand. So it's a giant trinity for Performer Power, which is really cool. That's actually really, really interesting. Now, we have a Yangzing Synchro Monster, which it is in the set, but the effect for it is still unconfirmed. But I thought the effect was very interesting, so I do want to read off to you. I don't typically like to read off unconfirmed things, but I feel like it's still sort of going to remain the same, or it may be the exact same effect. We don't really know. But I thought it was a pretty cool thing for Yangzings. So his name is Chaofing, I think you can pronounce it, Illusion of the Yangzing. The level 9 Worm Synchro Monster with 2800 attack and 2000 defense, and requires a tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. If this card was Synchro summoned, the opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters whose attributes is the same as the original attributes of a Yangzing monster used as Synchro materials for this card. And as y'all know, Yang Zines have a multiple different sets of attributes. They have one of each attribute outside of Divine. Because, you know, the only monsters with Divine attributes really are the Egyptian God cards. So this essentially is a walking skill drain for the deck. And the two main cards, really the main cards you're going to be using are going to be things like Bixie and Pualo. So they instantly shuts down Neckclaws and instantly shuts down any wind-based deck. And since now it's unaffected by spells and traps, you can't hit Dark Holet, Snatch Stealer, or anything like that. You can't hit it with traps. So it's already a pretty good powerhouse card in my opinion. When this Synchro Summon card is destroyed by battle with card effect, you can add one tuner monster from the deck to the hand, which is really nice. Pretty much it makes things like Jiaotu much more better, because then you can just add that little shit to your hand and go for another one, or go for another synchro play on your next turn, depending you have something for its effect. And once you return when a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can special summon one worm type monster with the same attribute as that monster from your deck and face up the fifth position. That's actually really cool. It's something the deck actually did need. Now, the best thing about this card is the fact that they have, I think it's called Fuxi. It's like one of the new pendulums for the deck, and pretty much whenever it's pendulum summoned or is summoned from the deck, you can make another Yang monster you control into a tuner monster. So it opens up a lot of plays and makes this card much more viable. It wasn't viable to begin with, but it's even more better with that card. Now, the one card I really want to talk about was El Shadow Inferno Lilith, which I believe is an Infernoid. I'm not really too sure. But it's a level 9 Water Fiend type Fusion type monster. I believe it's Infernoid. It's got 2700 attack and 2000 defense. It requires a Shadow monster plus 1 Water monster. And must be Fusion summoned. Must first be Fusion summoned. Neither player can special monsters from the hand or graveyard by the effects of spell or trap cards. So that just says, fuck you, Neckclaws. Right then and there, your Neckclaw deck is now fucked in the ass. It's just hilarious. Unless you can get off the field, you're screwed. Like, you can't do anything with Neckclaws then. Due to the fact that you can't get your monsters out. It's just hilarious. If this card sits the graveyard, you can target one shadow spell trap card in your graveyard and add your hand. Yeah, it doesn't really matter for that, but, you know, oh well. Now, we have here Chimeric Rampage Dragon, which is another freaking card for Cyber Dragons. And, hey, look, it's level 5, so instant fusion target for the win. It requires 2 or more Cyber Dragon monsters. It's got 2100 attack, 600 defense. Fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion material monsters. When this card is fusion summoned, you can target a number of spell or trap cards on the field, up to the number of fusion materials used from this card, and destroy them. Dear God, Overload Fusion is going to be stupid as fuck, in my opinion. I'm definitely going to be trying to Cyber Dragons once again, and playing the Overload Fusion so I can bring up this fuck. Just to get rid of background. They have a Heavy Storm now. That's crazy. Once per turn, you can send up to 2 Light Machine type monsters from your deck to your graveyard. In addition to this card's normal attack, it can attack once more for each monster to the graveyard by this effect during each battle phase this turn. So this does set up for Cybernetic Fusion as well as freaking, not Cybernetic Fusion, Cyber Network, and it sets up for things like Overload Fusion and stuff like that, so that's actually a really good card for the deck. But what makes it even better is the fact that it's a freaking instant fusion target. So there you go. It's an instant fusion target. Next up we have Neptibus the Atlantean Prince. So another Atlantean card right here. It is a level 1 Sea Serpent with 800 attack and 0 defense. I thought I said 800 there for a second. I really did. I saw, look at this thing at like 3 a.m. I thought this was 1800 attack. I was like, holy shit. That is fucking too OP for a level 1 monster. I'm sorry, but it is 800, so there you go. Anyway, you can only use each effect once per turn. You can send one Atlantean monster from your deck to the graveyard, except for himself, and add one Atlantean card from your deck to your hand, except for himself. So this opens up a lot of plays for the deck, and just makes Atlanteans in general a more viable deck. I'm not talking about Mermail Atlanteans, I'm just talking Atlanteans as an archetype, you know, without the Mermails. And then in this card, since the graveyard, to activate the effect of a water monster, target one Atlantean monster in the graveyard except for himself and special summon it. So yeah, it's like, in my opinion, I feel like it could definitely have used the Mermails, but I feel like this will definitely be a pretty cool card to test on things like regular Atlanteans, because I think this makes Atlanteans a little more powerful and can not really stand on their own without the Mermaids. I feel like you will still need to play some Mermaids like Abyss Megalo and stuff, just to get that power on the field. But I feel like it's definitely a pretty cool card. Next up, we have Kfc Island. You fucking assholes! Anyway, Fire King Island. This card is amazing. I love it. I need to crack down a bit on my Fire Kings IRL. I have it built like it's been a lot of fun. Of course, that's probably going to change with this card, because this card is just so good. And it eliminates a lot of the weaknesses and the faults the deck has. So anyway, you can only use the first or second effect of Fire King Island each turn. And we're not going to call it Fire King Island. We're going to call it Kfc Island. So you can only use the first effect of Kfc Island each turn. I wish they left that in instead of Scratch because that would have been fucking, that's hilarious in my opinion. Anyway, during a main phase, you can destroy one monster you control or in your hand, and if you do, add one Fire King monster from your deck to your hand. Now, Generation Shift does a better job because it's chainable. But the thing is with Shift is the fact that you have to add the same monster. The field spell just says, okay, I destroy my Yakusha, I get Yakusha effect, I can add like a freaking Barong. Or, you know, it doesn't matter. I can add a Barong to my hand and just do shenanigans later on. So, that's really, really cool. Now, my opinion, one of the best effects of this field spell is if you control no monsters, you can special summon a Fire Wing Beast type monster from your hand. Now, it says Fire Wing Beast monster from your hand. So, basically, this will allow you to play things like 3 Garunics and not really give a shit, as well as things like Sacred Phoenix and Nephthys, which is the card you don't typically see in Fire Kings, but in my opinion, it's more viable because of the field spell. Now, the third effect is also pretty good, which is if this face-up card in your field zone is sent to the graveyard or banished, destroy all monsters you control. Now, normally that would be a bad thing, but the awesome part about this is the fact that it's just like, oh, hi, I destroy my Garunics, okay, I bring it back next turn. It's destroy my Barong. It's just a really cool card, in my opinion, and it just really helps up the deck. But it's the, if you control no monsters, is what really gets it going, is the fact that it allows you to get rid of those dead Garunics in your hand and make them live plays, and in a sense, it makes them Cyber Dragons for the deck, which is really cool, and I like that a lot. So anyway, what are your thoughts on a lot of these cards? There's a lot of news. I'm sure more is going to be coming because there's still some unconfirmed effects that I didn't really go over. So we're going to go over a couple of the unconfirmed effects that I liked myself. But I'm really excited for this set, and I really cannot wait for it to come out. I really cannot wait for the cards to get on Dev Pro, because I'm going to be playing the shit out of a lot of these cards, especially with this little bash right here. I have a deck idea for that. My Yangzing, of course. So glad I picked this shit up. I'm playing with Cyber Dragons, Fire Kings, all of this shit, so expect a lot of cool duels and deck profiles coming your way with a lot of this new stuff. So anyway, give me your thoughts on these cards in the comment section below, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.